This is Catching Up. I'm Videoza. If you know me, then you know I love podcasts. And this time, I wanted to be a bit more subtle in my reference to one of my favorite podcasts, 99% Invisible by Roman Mars. And I'm not sure I'm referencing it properly or not, but I want to make sure I'm not being too fast in my speech or just trying to refer to this theme. I remember you said that there's not a lot going on in your life right now, in the sense that you're stuck at home, and as I'm sure everyone is, and it's extra frustrating because it's been more than a year now, and me moving back to India was on 18th March. That's a little over a year now. So it's frustrating to know that nothing has changed around me, physically at least. Of course, I'm graduating and I'm working on my startup, and it is much better than it was a year ago. But physically I am in a way the same. Maybe my weight is also the same. My height is definitely the same. Coincidentally, you just today mentioned that you were bringing a poster into your room because you're seeing the same room for a year now, where you should be roaming around because it's your first year of college. It's about to be your second year of college very soon, and that makes each of us a bit more frustrated because it's been more than a year since we've been inside. And the best way for me, I felt, was to give a nod to one of my favorite pastimes when I was working on my smaller chores like walking or washing dishes or traveling, driving. That is podcasts. It's interesting how you can listen to something for so long and not realize that it's been that long. I mean, my commute to and from college when I was in India, I used to be 15-20 minutes, and I used to select songs every week, planning so that I don't repeat all the songs. But as soon as I moved to podcasts, I think it was in the end of the third year, I could never go back. I have been listening to podcasts ever since when I'm alone, driving or walking. The same happened when I moved to Boston. I was walking to and from college, and that was usually anywhere from 10 to 20, 25 minutes even, depending on how far the building is. But every time I had a podcast in my ears, and I loved them. Why I'm specifically referencing podcasts right now is because that is the only entertainment or media piece, if you'd like to call it. It's the only media piece that I am not consuming as much as I used to before. Everything else has risen up, especially games. Since I've got my new laptop, podcasts have been giving me a lot of fun. And one of my favorite podcasts, Hello Internet, shut off kind of abruptly I think it was the end of February was their last episode. I listened to their what would be their final episode back when I was coming back to India. I also started listening to Karan Gill and Kenny Sebastian's podcast when I was coming back, and that has always been a source of entertainment for me. But since I went back to India, I almost stopped hearing podcasts completely. I came back here, I'm still listening to podcasts sometimes, but it's never been the same. And it's weird in a way, because podcasts usually are very long. Yeah, the common podcasts are 30-45 minutes, and the longest I've heard are by Joe Rogan, which are usually more than 3 hours. I feel it is interesting that I'm not listening to podcasts as much, because the podcasts are so long and sometimes they feel boring, at least to the untrained eye. And I feel those were the most interesting times, and it's really difficult fitting podcasts back into my life if I'm not working as much as I used to, at least not going out as much as I used to, which is again a point of soreness, because you watching the same room again and again, watching the same walls, windows, table again and again tires you a bit. But podcasts, even though they're said by the same people, Roman Mars, C.G.P. Gray, Brady Harrell, they're always interesting. They've always been talking about the most interesting topics, even though they seem a bit geeky or lame. I mean, who would want to talk about cinemas, how they started, and how they are right now? I mean, everyone knows it used to be a thing of opulence, thing of luxury. Then it went out to be for everyone. But Roman Mars always makes it interesting. I would give you examples about topics from Hello Internet, but they're so random that you would just want to connect with them yourself. I know that you like Trash Taste a lot, and you've been listening to it for a long time, and I feel the connection that you have with Trash Taste is the same that I have with Hello Internet, in a way that you cannot explain it to others why it's interesting, but you love it. And I feel podcasts in a way are that way, that they're much more personalized. Each podcast probably does not have as much following as a particular YouTube channel might, or some other kind of content creator, Instagram influencer might have. But podcasts are very niche but very exciting genres about business wars and how you scale your businesses and how you build your businesses. These are still fairly common podcasts that people have popularized among themselves, and the Joe Rogan experience does not need any introduction. But podcasts like Hello Internet, podcasts like Trash Taste, like The Memory Palace, like Simple Ken, these are the podcasts that you should really listen to, because I feel they are content creators in a way similar to us. They talk about very specific topics, maybe in depths that people don't usually like talking about, but that's what gives you the freedom. You cannot talk about a topic for an hour in an Instagram reel or a YouTube video, but you bet there's a podcast about it, definitely more than an hour long. So if you're feeling a bit down, not just being depressed, but you're feeling down in the sense that you are feeling this sense of repetition around you, I ask you, and in a way myself, to go to podcasts, because there's a new life, a new organism waiting to clench and taking you down with them forever. Right, so this was one of my attempts at making a podcast like video. I don't know, podcast like experience, but let me know what do you think. This is in a way my answer to your gaming review. So yeah, let me know if we should do sessions like these. We can maybe have a call that we do in fact record and maybe put out a special catching up video. Yeah, that's been it, and I will see you on Friday.